Okay guys, we're starting chapter 3 on solving two-step equations. So just a little bit of review. Our goal on these warm-ups is to get the variable by itself. So we have to do the inverse operation. The opposite of a 3, the way to make that go away is to do minus 3. And what you do on one side, you do on both. Those cancel, x comes down, 7 minus 3, 4. And we could check it by substituting it back in and we would see that it works. We're going to avoid that just to save time. Over here we have 10 equals y minus 9. So this is a minus 9, so we're going to do plus 9. And what you do on one side of the equal sign, you do on both. Those cancel, y comes down, and you get 19. So you can write it y equals 19. In number 3, we have 24n equals 3. Well, these are being multiplied, 24 times n. So the inverse is to divide. That cancels, n comes down. 3 over 24, please don't say it's 8. 24 over 3 is 8. 3 over 24 we can reduce. 3 divided by 3, 24 divided by 3, and we get 1/8. So that reduces to 1/8. And then over here we have t divided by 4 equals 12. Well, these are being divided. The inverse operation of divide is to multiply. So I do that on both steps. My 4's cancel, t equals 48. Now let's take a look down lower. Tell whether the given value of the variable is a solution of the equation. So they're telling me here's an equation, and they want to know does x equal -2. So I'm going to substitute -2 in and basically solve it to see if they are equal. So 4 times -2 is -8, plus 9, 1 equals 1, yes. For letter B, I'm going to substitute 5 in for x. So I have -15. Does it equal -3 times 5 plus 15. -3 times 5 is -15. -15 plus 15 is 0. So I bring this down just to finish off the problem, and -15 does not equal 0, so no, not a solution. To be proper, you would want to write that out. And then let's take a look at letter C, substituting in -2. So I have -6. Does it equal -2 divided by 2 minus 7? So -2 divided by 2 is -1 minus 7. -6 on the left. -1 minus 7 is the same as plus a negative, if you don't remember that. So -1 plus -7, -8, so no, not a solution. All right, let's try the next page. Now we're going to start looking at two-step equations. So that's why we warmed up with a few one-steppers. And let me scroll up. All right. Use subtraction and division to solve, and remember to check. Like I said, we're going to kind of bypass the checking right now. That's something we'll look at more in class, and it's a good tool for test taking. But, all right, our goal is to get x by itself. So this 4 is right attached to it. So we can't do anything to that yet. First, you're going to get rid of the numbers that are like hanging out extra. So this is a +1. It's like hanging on. It's dangling on this side. So I'm going to do the opposite and subtract 1. My 4x is going to come down. Those cancel. 5 minus 1 is 4. Okay, and now we're down to a one-step problem, which we've already learned. These are being multiplied, so I do the inverse, which is to divide. Divide both sides, x equals 1. In letter B, the first thing you have to do here, in the directions they even say subtract. So you want to add or subtract first, multiply or divide second. In this 3n plus 8 equals 2. This 3 and the n, they're attached. They're like stuck together. So we need to get rid of the things that are further out first. It's +8. I do -8. On both sides, my 3n comes down. Those cancel. 2 minus 8 is -6. Now 3 is multiplied by n, so the inverse is to divide. Those cancel. N equals -2. Letter C. 12 minus 4s equals -12. So the inverse, I first have to get rid of this 12. So I'm going to subtract 12 on both sides. Those cancel. -4s comes down. And -12 minus 12 is -24. Then these are being multiplied, so I do the inverse, which is divide. They cancel. S equals 6. Real quick, a side note. This original problem was 12 minus 4s equals -12. If it helps so that you don't forget to bring down the negative when you bring it down the 4s, then maybe make that plus a negative right off the bat. Add the opposite right off the bat. It might help you to not fall into that problem, okay? All right, so we're going to do that on this one just so you can see what I mean. I have 6 minus 2m equals 8. I'm going to make that add the opposite. So now I have 6 plus negative 2m equals 8. I need to get rid of this 6 first, so I subtract it on both sides. Negative 2m comes down, because that's just gone now, and 8 minus 6 is 2. Now these are being multiplied, so the inverse is to divide. M equals negative 1. Here we're going to look at some decimals. Negative 5.7 plus 2.6d equals negative 14.02. I have to get rid of this negative 5.7, so the only way to make that go to 0 is to add 5.7. And we know that we have to line up our decimals when we add decimals. There it is. These are going to cancel. 2.6d comes down. And this is a negative 14 and a positive 5. So on the side, I'm going to do some scratch work. And because one's positive, one's negative, different signs, so I have to find the difference. I need to subtract, because that's what difference means. 2 minus 0 is 2. Borrow here. 10 minus 7 is 3. Decimal point comes straight down. I have to borrow here. 13 minus 5 is 8. So over here then, now I have 2.6d equals 8.32, but it's a negative because the larger number was negative. Now these two numbers are being multiplied, so I do the inverse and I divide. Divide by 2.6, divide by 2.6, which I'm also going to have to do some scratch work for. So 8.32 divided by 2.6. If we have a decimal point outside, we need to move it 1 inside, and then accordingly on the inside. So 1 over, 1 over, and then it comes straight up. 26 into 83. I can work that out. I'm running out of room. How about 26 times 4? Nope, way too big. So how about 3? 26 times 3 is 6. There we go. And I'm going to get 5, bring down my 2, and it goes in twice. So whenever I divided by 2.6, that went away. D comes down, and my answer is negative 3.2. So that was a lot of extra practice with some dividing stuff. Letter F, I have some negatives again, positives. I need to get rid of this 8.2 because it's tagging on. It's like the extra thing. These are multiplied. I do that second. So I'm going to subtract 8.2 on both sides. Because those cancel, the only thing that comes down is 9.3n. And I need to line up my decimal points, which I did, and they're both positive numbers. I'm just subtracting. So 7 minus 2 is 5. 4 minus 8, borrow there. I'm going to get 6 and 4, so it's 46.5. Now I'm going to divide by negative 9.3. Those cancel, n comes down. And just a little bit of scratch work, 46.5 divided by 9.3. Move that decimal point 1, so it's a whole number, and that decimal point 1, and it comes straight up. I'm going to say 93 times, we'll say 4, because it's close to 100. 36, 372. Actually, I may be able to go one more than that. Oh, exactly. Yep. It's going to go in 5 times. And I'm not going to have any remainders, or decimals. So the answer here is negative 5 because I divided by negative 9.3. All right. I'm going to stop there. We're going to do the next kind of problems on the 3.1 YouTube lesson part 2.